Hello, my name is Kate. I'm here to talk to you about a revolutionary new idea. I am a counsellor, and as a counsellor I'm aware of all the problems that this world throws at us. My colleague Dr. Mark Harries showed me his DVD on the Hayes method. And when I watched this DVD, I realised that I could cure my patients with it. If you suffer from depression, anxiety, insecurity, low self-esteem, drug addiction, alcoholism, any of the things that this world throws at us, this tape will cure you. Dr. Harries has worked on the mind for many, many years. He understands the mind more than any man I know. When you watch this tape, you will realise it can make you all-powerful. This method, the Hayes method, can make you be in control of your own life. It can make you change to positivity from negativity. It can make you rid yourselves of all those ghouls. I urge you to watch this tape, and when you watch it, I hope the whole world watches it with you, and you will all change. Thank you.
Hello and welcome. My name is Dr. Mark Harries, and today I'm going to talk to you about the new Hayes method. How many of you suffer from the following? Depression, anger, stress, paranoia, sexual disorders, eating disorders, fear, lack of ambition, lack of confidence, etc., etc., etc. How many of you feel like that? All of you. All of you have one or two or three of these problems that happen all the time. And some of you may blame other people for the way you behave, and that's your excuse for being the person you are. But it isn't. You made yourself into these particular people. You made yourself into this person yourself. I am going to show you how to change your life forever, to free yourself from depression, stress, anger, insecurities, weaknesses, lack of confidence, insecurities, sexual disorders, eating disorders, drinking disorders. This is not hypnosis, hypnotherapy. This is not a manual for you to read and to study. This is all on this DVD. This is a new scientific discovery. This discovery has only recently been discovered. However, it's been with us since the human race existed. But we didn't understand it. We didn't know enough about it to realise it was there at all. If you had a time machine and you went back 160 years ago, you will find that we had no electric, no cars, no computers, etc. Now we have technology. Wonderful cars, wonderful homes, laptops to see and speak to the entire world with. And if you look around yourself, you think, we've improved all right. We are much, much better now than we were 160 years ago. But have you really thought about it? Let's analyze that for a moment. We have evolved in technology very fast in 160 years, very fast indeed. But we haven't evolved within ourselves. However, we've learned how to use this technology, but we still have the same fears and problems as we had 160 years ago. You spoke to your neighbour 160 years ago about your problems, they'd still be current in those days as they are today. And you haven't stopped to think about it. When you think about that, you have to agree, yes. I suppose people did have fear and they were depressed and they were stressed and all the other particular problems that we have today. Yes, they were still there 160 years ago and they're still here today at 2008. And because we haven't changed, the reason why we haven't changed is because we didn't know that we hadn't. Because if you look around you, you think, oh yes, we changed, all right, look at everything. But we haven't. So what are we going to do about it? Would you like to catch up to technology today within yourself? Would you like to be free of all the problems that we had 160 years ago we still got today? The fear, the depression, the stress, the insecurities, etc., etc., etc. Because I'm going to show you how to do this. There's no reading, there's no studying. It's all on this DVD. You are going to change your life forever. I'm going to show you this new discovery. You are going to feel absolutely wonderful. I'm going to make you feel, when you wake up in the morning, absolutely wonderful. How would you like to feel as though I can get what I want? I can be who I want. And let all those particular worries and things just disappear completely. Because you've created these problems yourself. Can't blame anybody for them. You created the thought, you created the problem. I'm going to change you. Sometimes things are meant. Most things are meant. You were meant to listen and watch me. Because you have a problem. And I'm going to show you how to deal with it. And fight it. And be free from it. Wouldn't you feel wonderful if I showed you how to be like that? To get what you want. Free from all these problems. Of course you would. It's your human right to know this information. And I'm going to show you what to do. You must have a complete open mind on what I'm about to say. Because you haven't heard anything like it in your entire life before. This is what every human being should know. Before I go into the Hayes method, before I explain the Hayes method to you, I have to explain how you work. Why you have these insecurities and problems and depression, etc., etc., etc. It's quite simple when you think about it. If you know the knowledge, that is. You stop for a moment and think about it. You'll analyze what I say. You will not find another way. You will know what I'm saying to you is the right way. You'll never find an alternative method to what I'm about to say. You'll never find the negativity in what I'm about to say to you. So I'm going to prove everything to you. What I'm going to say, I'm going to prove to you that it all works. Okay. Firstly, I'm going to explain to you how your mind works. That's the first thing. You have to know how you operate yourself to be able to understand what to do, what I'm about to tell you to do. So first of all, let's look at your mind. Why you seem to get like you do, whatever the problem may be. I'm going to simplify matters by saying your brain is in two parts. We have the conscious mind and we have the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is what you live with every day. You talk with it, you think with it, you have emotion, stress, you know the difference between right and wrong, you have logic. Everything comes from the conscious mind. Talking, deciding what to buy, where to go, everything comes from the conscious mind. But that happens to be only 10% of your working brain. The other 90% happens to be your subconscious. Very, very powerful, very, very clever, very fast. It vibrates much faster than conscious mind. But it has no logic, no common sense, no feelings, motion, no awareness, no right and wrong. It doesn't have any of those qualities that the conscious mind has. So let's just talk about depression for a moment. You wake up with all the problems that you have. You think about them. You're fed up with your life, fed up with your job, fed up with this and fed up with that, and you don't want to get out of bed. Now, how you got to that level of feeling like you did was you initiated the thought with your conscious mind. The conscious mind, all it does is initiate a thought. You thought of things, whatever they may be, you started that thought with 10% of your working brain. And then your subconscious came along with another 90%, making it 100%, making you feel terrible. Because your subconscious always follows the conscious mind. So, imagine, here is your conscious mind and here is your subconscious. Whatever you think about, your subconscious comes along all the time and follows that thought. Because it has no logic, no emotion. It doesn't know that it's doing anything wrong. If you were sitting down in your own front room, on your own, crying, when you're sitting on your own settee, it would think that's what you want to do. And encourage the feeling, because you created that thought with 10%, and then your subconscious comes along with another 90% making you feel absolutely terrible. And you feel worse. Now, if you manage to get to work like that, you were forced to get there for some reason, and somebody did something or said something, and you laughed your head off because it was that funny. the rest of your day will be different. Because your subconscious will think, oh, you want to be in the laughter mode now, do you? So you initiate the thought, and another 90% comes along, and the rest of your day will be different. Now the reason for that is because your conscious mind only initiates a thought, nothing else. It has no memory. All it has is the emotions that we have. You decide what you want to do with the thought. The average person has between 3,000 to 4,000 thoughts a day. You can only think of one thing at one time. You may scan a room very quickly and think, I can think of this, that and the other. You may scan a room and look at things very quickly, but if you wanted a glass of water and you saw it on the table, you can only think of that glass of water. Nothing else, because your hand's going to get it. When it's in your hand, it's different, because you've got it. You can think of something else. You can't watch television and read a book at the same time. There's a line on the page or a screen, one or the other. So you are walking around thinking of thoughts, and if they're negative thoughts that aren't good for you, obviously, your subconscious comes along and follows through with that negative thought, not realizing, of course, that it's not the right thing to do, because it doesn't have any logic at all. Now, why are we like this? Why is it that we continue to be like this? The reason is because we didn't know what to do. We didn't know that we feel like this, how we feel like this. We didn't know that we are the cause of a thought. Let me explain to you what the subconscious can do. The subconscious has a wide-angle lens. It can see the sides as good as the front. When you're driving your car on the motorway doing 70 miles an hour, your subconscious is recording everything that it's passing, the sides, the front. You've got tunnel vision, not to bump the car in front, on the sides. But your subconscious is looking at everything around you. When you go to town, you're looking straight ahead. Or you may look around slightly, but your subconscious is recording everything it sees. Since you were born, your subconscious has recorded everything that you've done, heard, and seen. It's all been filed away into your subconscious mind. Doesn't matter how fast you go, whether you're in a car doing 5 miles an hour or 5,000 miles an hour, your subconscious will still record the price tags of the clothes in the shop windows as you're passing. It's incredibly clever. It's been listening to your gobbledygooch for years and just stores it up. It only gives you enough information, enough memory to make you continue to live properly, to make you walk, to make you drive a car or a bicycle. Let's consider these things for a moment. When you were a young child, you wanted to ride a bicycle because your friends had one. You initiate the thought, you got the bicycle from your parents, and then you thought, right, I want to ride this bicycle, and you just kept falling off, cutting your knees and legs, but you still persisted because everybody else has a bicycle and they're riding it. And one day, you were able to stay on that saddle and ride the bike. It was not your conscious mind that learned how to ride the bike. Oh no. It was your subconscious that learned to keep you on the saddle. The conscious mind just initiated a thought. I want to ride the bike. Your subconscious thought, okay, I'll follow that thought and start learning how to keep you on the saddle. Let's look at driving a car. I can't remember the first time I got into a car. Perhaps, maybe you can. The very first time you got into a car must have been very confusing for you. How do they do this? How do they manage to do all these pedals and indicators and everything's got to be at the right time and so forth? But when you decided you wanted to learn how to how to drive a car, when you decided you wanted to drive a car, you initiated the thought, and your subconscious learned how to drive the car, not your conscious mind. Now, if you didn't have a subconscious mind, then the first day you got into that car to learn how to drive would be the same day every day. Because the conscious mind doesn't learn anything. Only the subconscious learns. How many times have you driven your car after you passed your test and you've got things on your mind? You may be on the phone on your hands-free kit in the car talking about an important matter, talking to people in the car perhaps, and you're driving the vehicle. But do you think about the pedals on the floor? Do you think about turning the steering wheel? No. You don't. You never thought about it though, did you? It was your subconscious that drove the car for you. Because you were on autopilot. Because you thought, I want to drive the car to go somewhere. You got in the car, put the seatbelt on, and off you went. Your subconscious drove the car. You had tunnel vision, not to the bumping car in front. You couldn't think about the rest of it. You didn't even consider the thought of the pedals and all the rest of it that goes on in running a car. You're an autopilot. Let's consider the fact that you don't have a car. Let's consider that you caught a bus, and now you're going to town to do some shopping. And you get off the bus and you're at one end of the precinct, a very busy shopping precinct. And it's August and it's Saturday and it's hot and everybody's out there window shopping, showing off their summer clothes, etc. Now you have to make your way to the other end of the shopping centre. There are thousands of people all in the way. You start to make your journey. In and out of the people like a swing to the other end. You may even talk about things on your mobile phone. But you still get to the other end without bumping into people. It's easy. Why is it easy? Because you didn't have to think about it. You just initiated the thought, I want to get over there, to that shop. You didn't have to think about which way people were going to go, left or right, not to bump into them. Of course you didn't. Because you were an autopilot. Because your subconscious was getting you through the crowd. Not your conscious mind. Because all you did was initiate a thought, I want to get over there. If you didn't have a subconscious mind, and you were in that position, at one end of the precinct and wanted to get to the other end, you would have to think about everybody coming towards you. And don't forget, they're coming from the front, the sides, the rear, all over the place, hundreds of people all the time. You couldn't stop and say to people, excuse me, which way are you going to go? I can take left or right. Not to bump into them, because there's too many of them. You wouldn't get more than 10 feet without having a nervous breakdown. Because your subconscious got you through the crowd because you didn't have to think about it. Have you thought about that? Of course you haven't. That is why we haven't learned anything. Because we didn't know how we thought, how things work, how we work. You know, you have food, you eat and you drink, and you think that's what keeps you alive. It keeps your skin and your bones going, but it does not make you move around. You need one more thing to make you move around, to go places. Static electric. Thousands of static electric volts you have, all around you all the time. How many times have you taken your jumper or pullover off at night and heard the crackles and seen the sparks? What have you thought about it when you've done that? Oh look, sparks and crackles. Have you seriously thought about it enough? Of course you haven't. How many times have you got out of a car and touched the frame of the car, the outside, and electric shock? Did you think about how you got it? Of course you didn't. You just knew that it was there. Because we're run by electric. Without static electric, you couldn't move. You wouldn't be alive. How you move is this. You initiate the thought to move over there, and your subconscious then fires an electric current to the muscles to move the arm, the hands, the legs, etc., to move in different directions. We are run by electric. We are, in a manner of speaking, androids. Ever thought of that? No. Your subconscious is a computer. It lives on what it sees and what it hears. Now, it lives on what it sees because it records everything you do. It's got no logic, no emotion, so it just stores it all up into a library of information. Huge hard drive, goes on forever and ever. Some hypnotists can put people back to when they're 12 years old and they'll tell them what colour the clothes are, what they have on, where they're going, and who they're with. It's all there. All stored. Your subconscious is a secret to everything. Now, you live on food and water and static electric. Your subconscious lives on sight and sound. It follows your thought all the time. No matter what your thought is, your subconscious adds 90% of that 10%. Let's imagine somebody gave you a ticket to see a hypnotist show. Yes, I'll go there. I could do with being entertained. And you go there and sit with everybody else. And maybe you're not the sort of person to experience what it's like to go on stage with a hypnotist, but you'll sit in the audience to see what's going to happen. Hypnotist comes on, introduces himself, everybody's excited. Tries to warm everybody up and build a rapport with everybody in the audience. Then he will ask everybody to do a test. And you will think, I will do that, but I won't go on the stage, but I'll do the test. Now if you do this test correctly, it'll work. If you don't, it won't. And you can do this test at home, with anybody at all. It's quite simple. as long as you know how it works. He was saying, right, everybody in the audience put your hands out like that. Stretch them out. That's right. Now, I'm going to paint them with super glue in a minute, and you have to go, okay, in your mind. Agree. Now I'm going to come along and paint them with super glue. Okay, you say. Now they're wet with super glue. You say, okay. Now I'm going to put my hands together, and you're going to do the same, and squeeze them tight. Now they're glued, and you have to say, okay, in your mind. And now they're stuck, and you can't open them. And the harder you try to open your hands, the harder it'll be. Now if you do this correctly, you will not be able to open your hands. The audience will be like this. Now before they panic, the hypnotist will come on and say, everybody can open their hands because you don't have any super glue, and you go like that. Now the reason your hands are stuck like that is because you told your subconscious that you had super glue in them. And they were stuck, glued together. As your subconscious doesn't have any logic, it followed your thought. Now, if you were a person in the audience that thought, oh, this is ridiculous, I don't have any super glue, and you did all this in your mind, and then you did that, and he said your hands are now glued and you can't open them, and you open them straight away, it's because you didn't agree in your mind. So that is the reason. Your subconscious follows your thought all the time, and it was your subconscious that stopped you in your hands. See how it follows your thought. So you've got to be very careful how you think. Your subconscious will follow you no matter what you do. If you wanted to rob the bank up the road, it would follow you 100% and do exactly what you're going to do. You initiate the thought, it'll be there 100% all the time. Because as I say, it has no right and wrong. There's no other difference between right and wrong, logic and so forth. Just imagine this. If you could tap into your subconscious, into your computer, which it is, you could tap into it and make your subconscious into the person that you'd like to be. That's power. Would you like to know how to make your subconscious make you into the person that you would like to be? It is very easy to do, very simple. If you know the trick, the way to confuse your subconscious, to slip in a program, to make your subconscious do what you want to feel like, to be like, to have what you want. Because your subconscious has the power to do all these things, to get what you want, to be what you want. All you have to do is to initiate the thoughts after you put in the program. Now, as your subconscious is a computer run by electric, and it feeds itself on sound and sight, you have to confuse it to slip in the program. Now just say we had a situation like this. How many times have you been in a situation when you can't remember a film star in a film and it comes to you later on? Something like that. Just say you're talking about a film that you saw a month or two ago, and there's a film on the television and you want to tell the person who's in it. And they can relate to the film as well, but they're trying to remember the film star. And you can't remember it for a moment. And you then start to perhaps visualize the film in your mind, because you're all trying to remember the film star in the film. And you can see the person in your mind, and you're thinking, oh, what's his name? What's that person's name? And it's on the tip of your tongue. It's almost there, coming out. And all of a sudden, you feel it drifting off. You can't remember it. And with frustration, you have to let it go. And then, it comes to you later on. I remember. You say it was Robert Redford. It was Robert Redford. That's the guy. Did you think how that worked? No, nobody does. The thing is that how can you remember something if you were thinking of something else? Because you can only think of one thing at one time. Can't read a book and watch television at the same time. As I said, you can scan a room very quickly, but when you concentrate on one thing, it's one thing at a time. If I want a glass of water, I'll think about it. When it's in my hand, I can think of something else. But to get to that glass, I can only think of that. So you were thinking of something else. So how did you remember how did you get that name? Because when you visualized the person in your mind and said, what's his name? Your subconscious, in its own language, said, hang on a moment, I'll have a look in the file for you. And then dug up that clip that you visualized and started looking for the name. Yes. Then when it found it, it then had to stop what you were thinking for 2 or 3 seconds to throw in the name Robert Redford. And you say, I remember who it was. But you don't remember. You don't have a memory. It was your subconscious that gave it to you. Did you ever think about that? Of course you didn't. That is why we haven't evolved. Because we don't know how we work. And that is because of the stress and the way we live. It's fast, and the bills that come to the letterbox, and family issues and arguments and goodness knows what. And that's what you do every day. You go to work and this and that, you come home and you don't improve. Because you don't think you have not improved. And therefore, we have not. Because we didn't think about it. But once you put the program into your subconscious, everything changes. Your thoughts, what you think about, is very important after you put the program in, because your subconscious works much, much faster. At the moment, your subconscious just gives you the basic things to live with. Why is it some people have a better memory than others? Because their subconscious relates to them better. But that person that's clever in one thing could be slower in something else, and you could be better than that person in something else. If you turn around and say, I'll never have this, I'll never have that, you won't get it. Because your subconscious would see to it. It's like saying, I'll never go smoking cigarettes. You won't. Because your subconscious, 90% of your working brain, will make sure you don't, because it follows your thought. I mean, some people might say, I always make money, I'll always have this, I'll always have that. They will. Because their subconscious is following that thought. And they become successful. But once you put the program in, it's mind-boggling. Your way of life changes completely. Once you have this power, you must always remember, you must always treat other people as you like to be treated. Always. Now, we are now going to work on the Hayes method. I am now going to show you how to reprogram yourself into your computer to make you feel wonderful, to make your subconscious know what you want to feel like. Because for the first time, you're going to speak to your subconscious and you're going to slip in a program and trick it. Because your subconscious lives on what it sees and what it hears only, it vibrates much, much quicker than the conscious mind. Just imagine for a moment that I locked you in a room for, say, 10 days and just fed you water, no food at all. Are you starving? If I threw in a sandwich, you'd eat it straight away and taste everything in it. You'd be able to write everything down that was in the sandwich. Your taste buds would be that sharp. Your subconscious, however, vibrates much, much quicker, as I said, than the conscious mind, and therefore will starve in just 5 minutes, just like you would if you hadn't eaten for 10 days. When you trick it and take its food away, because its food is sight and sound. For the first time in your life, you're going to take this away and trick it. Because when you eventually go to sleep at night, your subconscious goes into a sleep mode. It never sleeps, but it goes into a sleep mode. When you open your eyes in the morning, it comes on at the same time as your conscious mind, but totally separately. Yeah, two of you are looking through your eyes, both at the same time, but totally separately. Let me prove this to you. A subliminal advert, which is illegal to use now, but it went on for years and years and years. Until it became illegal, because it was an abuse of the mind. But nobody really analysed it. It was never in a paper really to explain what it actually, how powerful it was. But this is how powerful it is. And a subliminal advert works like this. Just say I called at your house and I knew what type of film you wanted to watch, and I gave you the film and you watched it and it was an hour and a half, and I came in afterwards and said, what did you think of the film? You said, oh Mark, it was wonderful. We thoroughly enjoyed it from start to finish. And I said, what did you think of the adverts? Oh no, there weren't any, you would say. And I'd say, oh there were. There were 10 adverts on that film. And you'd say, no, there weren't. There was an advert-free film. We didn't see anything at all. No interruptions whatsoever. Not a blip in the screen, nothing at all. And I would still insist there were 10 adverts, and I would have to wind the film very, very slowly for you to see it. And there they were. And as an example, one advert was a full-length person holding a bottle of brown HB sauce, saying, next time you go to the supermarket, you buy a bottle of this brown HB sauce. You didn't see it. So it bypassed the filter of the conscious mind and went directly to the subconscious and stored it up. So you are in the supermarket and you get to the aisle where the brown HB sauce is, and your subconscious sees it. Now it can't physically buy it. It has to draw your attention to it. Now if you didn't like brown HB sauce, you would instantly dismiss it. But if you did, you would consider how much you had in the house. Now, if you could remember you had a full bottle and a half, you'd probably walk off. But if you weren't sure what you had, 9 times out of 10, it would go in the trolley. And now, you're walking out of the supermarket with something you were told to buy and you weren't aware of it. Okay? How clever that type of advertising is. That is why it's illegal, because it's an abuse of the mind. But you see how the subconscious sees things differently to the conscious mind. See how separate it is. That is why it's separate to the conscious mind. Now, your subconscious, as I said, lives on what it sees and what it hears. Its memory, when you relate to something, you think about something, it'll give it to you, depending on how it relates to you and how busy it is at the time. Because at the moment, it's recording all you're looking at and what you're hearing at this present time. But it treats this information as gobbledygook and stores it all up into an enormous library of information. And it may bring your attention to it. If you talk to somebody about this particular program, to somebody else, and it'll start feeding you information about it, and you can then talk to somebody about it. That's how your memory works. But you may not be able to remember every solitary thing that's been said, but it is there, because you have to really concentrate. Some people are very clever at remembering certain things, such as people that go on quiz programs. They can relate to a particular type of question very easily, and their subconscious gives them the answer straight away because they've seen it. Don't forget, your subconscious sees everything. You only see 5% of what your subconscious sees. Can you imagine that? You only see 5%. You're looking around all the time. Yet, you can only see 5% of what your subconscious sees. Because most of the time you've got television. Television, not to bump into people or whatever you want to go, but then you look straight ahead. But your subconscious has a wide angle lens and is recording everything that you're passing. It's all there in your computer. You run by electric, so is your subconscious. Now, let us turn your subconscious off, confuse it, so you can slip in a program. Now, as I said to you before, your subconscious lives on what it sees and what it hears. So now you've got to reprogram your subconscious. There's only one way to do it. And this is the one-off for the rest of your life. And it's only 5.5 minutes. That's it. That is all. Yes, that's all. 5.5 minutes. The best place to do this is in the bedroom. You have to tell everybody, whoever's in the house, I want 10 minutes to myself. Make sure you're not going to be disturbed for these 10 minutes to get yourself organised and things. So you go into the bedroom and the light's on. No music, no sound at all. Make sure the door is closed, and then you turn the light off. And you can't see anything. By the way, this has to be in the dark. So it's going to be dark outside. When you turn the light off in the bedroom, it's going to be dark. And then your eyes start to focus in the dark, and then you can see your furniture in the bedroom. And so can your subconscious. It's feeding from the light all the time. Because you can't put this program into the subconscious if it's feeding from light and sound. Because it would treat it as gobbledygook and not respond the same way. So you have to confuse now your subconscious and shut it off. And the best way to do this is to get into bed. Now this is a 5.5 minute mental exercise. It doesn't matter the sound in the rest of the house or on the street outside. As long as there's no sound in the room where you are. Now, you've got to take away the shadow of the furniture in the room. And the only way to do this is to get into bed. Get a sheet or a blanket. I want you to sit up in bed. And I want you to put the blankets over your head and around your knees and make a tent effect. So you can breathe properly and blink as normal. And now you've got to get to 5 minutes under the blankets. You can look at anything, think of anything, but don't make a sound. Obviously, when you've got your eyes open, you're blinking, you can't see anything because it's dark. You've taken the shadows away of the furniture because of the blanket or the sheet you put over your head, and so forth, and so therefore your subconscious can't see anything either. You tricked it for the first time in its life. Now you're going to do this for 5 minutes to shut your subconscious right down, to stop it, so it's not distracted with anything else. It won't be feeding from anything else, and it has to taking your command straight away. And the only way to do this is to leave it for 5 minutes. Now, so it can't see anything, and it shuts down and stops. Don't worry, it's not harmful. Now the only way to, don't have an luminous watch by the way, to try and work out 5 minutes, because as soon as it sees the light on the watch, the whole exercise is a waste of time. You have to count 1 to 60, like the seconds of a clock. There's 60 seconds in a minute. So you count 1 to 6 in your mind while you got your eyes open, while you're blinking, looking at nothing. And you count 1 to 60 and you take this finger, that's 1 minute. Then you take another 60 seconds, which is another minute, and so forth till you get to 5 minutes. After 3 minutes, your subconscious can't understand what's happened. Why can't I see anything? Why aren't you moving around? Why isn't anybody talking to you? Why is it you're sitting there with your eyes open and I can't see anything? It's confused. It has serious withdrawal symptoms. It starves itself like you would, as I said to you before, if you hadn't eaten for 10 days. Your subconscious gets like that in 5 minutes and stops working. Don't worry, it's not harmful. It's the best thing you've ever done. After the 5 minutes, it stops. Now, you have to think of a name for your subconscious. It could be a boy's name, girl's name, it could be anything at all. Remember one thing, you keep it to yourself and your subconscious. For now, for this exercise, we're going to call it Jack. So while you're under the blankets, your subconscious is starving, waiting for food, sound and sight. So you say, out through your mouth, under the blankets, I did not know I had a subconscious until today, and I'd like to call you Jack. And Jack, I'd like to say thank you for looking after me all these years, and you and I are going to work together. Got it. That's a sandwich, your subconscious starving. I'll have that. You say it 3 times. I'll say it again. I did not know I had a subconscious until today, and I'd like to call you Jack. And Jack, I'd like to say thank you for looking after me all these years, and you and I are going to work together. Got it, very quickly. Now when you said that 3 times, that's embedded into your subconscious, your computer, very deeply, and you can't get rid of it. It'll be there for the rest of your life. And don't worry about it. It's the best thing you've ever done. When you've done that 3 times, while you're under the blanket, you feel different. You feel as though you're connecting to something. You feel complete, you feel warmth, you feel in control. Wonderful feeling. Now what you've actually done there, you've confused your subconscious. Then you dropped in a name. You've given it a name, Jack. Then you dropped in an instruction, a thought. You and I are going to work together. You couldn't do this while your subconscious was looking around, because it wouldn't pay any attention to you in that regard, because it would store it up as information. It wouldn't work the same way as it is at the moment. So you've given it a name, it can relate to, and you can relate to your subconscious, and an instruction. You and I are going to do it together. Once you've said that 3 times, you throw the blankets off. Put the light on, music, whatever you want to do, and your subconscious goes back to normal. It doesn't realise what's happened, because it doesn't have any logic. No logic at all. It's a computer. Now, let me just explain how it works. Now, you can't compare your subconscious to a computer in any way at all. But the only way I can explain how it works is this. If you had a computer here, for instance, your password is Jack. Press it in, oh, you're on. You put in your program, out comes your answer. You have what you want, but does that computer know the difference in right and wrong? No, it does not. That's how your subconscious works. As I say, you can't compare the subconscious to a computer, but technically that is roughly how it works. So, you have the music on, you have the light on, you're walking around the bedroom, and you're thinking, is this right? Has this worked? Have I put the program in correctly? So now, I have to test it to see if it's going to work for you. And this is what you have to do. And watch this very carefully, because you can do this straight away. Hello. Right. Now here we have a thread of cotton and an ordinary house key. Now we need to tie the cotton to the key. Now I've already done that to save time. So here we have the key attached to a thread of cotton. Now I'm going to move this key with my subconscious mind. Now the first thing we have to do, in case somebody else has touched the key, their static electric could already be on it. So I'm going to dip it in water and that earths the key straight away. Then I take it out and just get a little bit of tissue and dry the key. Now you can use anything at all. You can use buttons, you can use a nut from the toolbox, anything at all that's reasonably weighty like this. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my subconscious to move this key purely by asking my subconscious what I want. Now I'm going to say, right, what I want you to do is indicate no. That means I nod my head from side to side like that. I don't need you to go from side to side like that. When I say stop and indicate yes, I nod my head like that. I want the key to go backwards and forwards. When I say do a circle, I want the key to do a circle. So, now to be more accurate on getting this to work properly, the best thing to do is to put your elbow there and lean. I'll just move that water out of the way for a moment. And now I'm going to be able to make this a bit harder by swinging it into the yes position. Now I'm going to stop this movement by changing the movement into the no position, then I'm going to get it back into the yes position. So I'm now going to speak to my subconscious in my mind and get it to swing in a different direction, indicating no. As you can see, it's changing direction. And is now indicating no. I've now got to change the direction and indicate yes again. You see the chain shake, the key shake, it is trying to manipulate the electric force. And now it's off, moving into the yes position. And now I'm going to get it to do a circle. And as you can see now, it's now forming in a circular motion, and I'm going to get it slowed down and stop. It's now slowing right down. Rather than wait till it totally stops, now I'm going to stop that and show you another experiment where we're going to try and find something now. Okay, now here we have a very interesting experiment. Now I have a crystal attached to a cot reel, already connected, as you can see. Now obviously don't spend a lot of money on these crystals. You can go and get a crystal for about £3 or £4. That's quite adequate. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my ring off, my wedding ring, and I'm going to place it on the floor, like so. And I'm going to get the crystal and I'm going to slowly lower it over the ring. Now it'll spin round when it reaches the length of gold. Tin, silver, iron, lead, all those metals have different lengths. So I'm now going to slowly lower this crystal down until it starts spinning round in a circular motion. Now here we are, it's now found the length of gold. Now it's spinning round. Now I'm going to get my colleague now to hide the ring. Now whatever you do, keep the length as it is. And now I'm going to speak to my subconscious, call out my subconscious name, which is obviously a secret name between you and your subconscious, and I'm going to ask it to find this ring for me. Now I'm going to move round the room, and I'm going to go to obvious places where it could be hidden. Nothing by there. I'm going over now to the settee here. Nothing by there. So I'm moving over here now to this part. And there we are. It's now moving in a circular motion again. And I presume that is where the ring is. It's under. You can see it's now really picking up speed here. It's really picking up speed, and it's obviously under this main cushion here. Look at the size of that circle. And anybody can do this once you put the program in. Look at the speed of that. Now that is where the ring is. Now I'm now going to take it away, and you'll see that the crystal has stopped moving completely. Now I'm now going to look inside under the cushion, not that one, and there it is. It's under here. So you can do this at home. It is very, very simple. This proves that your subconscious is contacting you, and it's trying to work out what you want. And there we are. And that's the two experiments that I'm going to show you today. Now, each month I'm going to show you something different. Okay, I'll show you how to find people and all sorts of things like that. Right, thank you.
Now that you've moved that item,
your subconscious is now listening to you, and it is obeying your thoughts straight away because you put the program in. It has to listen to you, has to do what you want instantly. Now you have to change the way you are. What is your problem? Just say, okay, let's take on the big one, depression, stress. Now, you have to do a 3.5 minute mental exercise every day. That's all you do. Every day, a 3.5 minute mental exercise. You must not, it's best not to do this while you're just retiring in bed, because if you fall off to sleep halfway through, obviously the exercise is a total waste of time and your subconscious will not get the message at all. So it's best to do this during the day. It is only 3.5 minutes, so you can't say, I haven't got time to do it. Well, that's not good enough, and you won't change. If you got this far, you're going to do it. Now you can do this in the restroom at work. Doesn't matter if there's noise around you, long as there's no noise in the cubicle you're in. You can do this in the car, on the hard shoulder, parked the vehicle, in the car park, anywhere. This is what you have to do. Relax. Breathe in nice and easily. This time you close your eyes, nice and gently, and you count 1 to 60 on 3 fingers, like the seconds of a clock. 3 minutes. And then you call out your subconscious name. Jack. I have a problem. Ding. Just like the computer, you press ding, Jack. The computer's on, like your normal computer would be on the desk, waiting for you to do something. Jack, this is what I'm like. Now I want you to visualize yourself as the person that you like, the person you don't like about yourself, the depressed state you're in. This is what I'm like every day or whenever. This is what I'm like. And look at yourself and feel yourself in a state that you've been in, depressed. And say, I don't want to be like that anymore. Now Jack doesn't know what to do about that. It's seen what you just visualize in your mind, like the film star in the film. Remember that in the past? You have to visualize what you're like. And say, I don't want to be that person anymore. Your subconscious doesn't know what to do about it because there's no difference in right or wrong or logic at all. Now you have to visualize yourself as the person you like to be. From now on, I want to be like this. I want to be happy and relaxed. I want to be full of energy. And visualize yourself as that person. So you do it again. You say, Jack, I do not want to be like this, Jack, and visualize yourself as that person. From now on, Jack, I want to be like this, and visualize the same situation, but you handle it totally differently. From now on, I want to be like this, and visualize. You do this 3 times. That's all you do. So you slow down your subconscious for 3 minutes, and then you call out the name which you put into your program, into your computer, Jack. It's come on, like the computer on your desk. And you put in the program, and out comes your answer. Your subconscious starts working on that straight away. Now, this is a 6-week program. You've got to keep doing this every day until you feel different. It'll happen like that. Like the film star in a film. Like that. As good as you can. You have to do this every day, and your subconscious will just act at any time. Now, you could change in 24 hours. You could change in a week, 2 weeks. Not everybody gets to 4 weeks. And certainly not everybody gets to 6 weeks. However, we did have a test. We had 300 people. We picked 100 of them in an audience and they all filled in an anonymous questionnaire. They just tick boxes or whatever their problem may be. That 100 people had to come back and fill in the same anonymous questionnaire. Everyone had changed bar 5 out of 100. And that was when it was 4 weeks. That is why we made it 6 weeks, because that extra 5 then got it. And everybody changed. Depending on how your subconscious reacts to you, because the more you use your subconscious, the stronger it gets, and the stronger it relates to you. Now, why it's different to other people's subconscious is different to yours, is quite simple. If there are a dozen people like yourself in the same room, same age group, same qualification, everything the same, and I put some work in front of you, everybody, and I said, when I blow the whistle, I want you to start work. When you finish, you get your coat and go home. Everybody would finish at a different time. And that's how your subconscious is. Depending on what it's doing, what it's got on, and how it's concentrating on you. So once you start to put the program in, once you give it the instruction, it starts to work. Depending on how difficult your problem is, it depends on how long it takes. But I guarantee you, within 6 weeks, I guarantee you will change. I guarantee it, without a doubt, you will change. But you must remember one thing. This is catch-22. If you don't believe this, neither will your subconscious. Because of why? Because it follows your thought all the time. You're the boss. You're the general. Your subconscious is the army. You're the boss. What you say, your army does. Once you put the program in, your army, your subconscious has to follow what you want, because that's its job. That's what it's there for. That's why the subconscious has been with us since the human race existed and nobody knew anything about it. Maybe, many years ago, we had this power. I'm sure we did. But we lost it. Generations and generations. We just didn't bother using it, and then in the end we forgot we had it at all. Like a tradesman, for instance, he used to do a particular, make something. And when after so many years that these tradesmen died, in the end nobody knew how to do it. It was forgotten. Same thing applies. So now you know the secret about the Hayes method. I'm going to talk to you how to be different, how to sort of live, I'm going to give you tips on marriage guidance, I'm going to give you tips on how to be successful in your business career, how to pass exams. It's quite simple, just for a moment. I have a book here, just say this was your coursework. You put the program in, obviously, it's called Jack, whatever name you call it, and now you've got your coursework because you want to pass your exam. So you get the pages and flip through them as fast as you like. You don't read anything. You say to your subconscious, read this. And you flip through them as fast as you like for 3 minutes each day for 3 days, which is 9 minutes in total. Now the reason why I say 3 days and not all in one day is because the humidity in this room is going to be different tomorrow, so therefore you'll be flipping over different pages. But then when you've done that after 3 days, which is all your coursework, 90% of your brain's already read it. Because if the subliminal advert works, so does that. Life is very simple. When you start to study then, it's so relaxing. It's not stressful because 90% of your brain's already read it, leaving just the conscious mind to deal with it. It's so simple. It's a bit of deja vu when you're reading. It's like, oh, I think I've read this before. When you go into the exam room, you say to your subconscious, I'm going to pass this test, make me pass this test. I want everything that you've read to be brought forward onto the questions on this particular paper. I want to know all the answers. And you fly through the exam. I want to meet somebody. I want to be positive. I want to be radiant. I want to be happy. Just imagine, for instance, some girls or fellas in a club, miserable because they haven't had a dance. Like that, miserable. Nobody's going to ask them for a dance because they look miserable. They don't want to get involved with somebody who's miserable, looks unhappy. But if one is radiant and happy and jolly, straight away people come over and ask you out for a dance. Same thing applies. You have to have that attitude of, right, from now on, I'm going to treat other people as I do treated. Because what goes around comes around. Remember, when you have power like this, be very careful how you think, because your subconscious acts very, very fast when you put the program in, very fast indeed. So there's no negative thoughts, you don't think badly of people. So what goes around comes around, remember.